Albufeira lies in the middle of the Algarve on the south coast of Portugal. It is a busy place with odd, fun statues in the centre of each roundabout. Our hotel was at the top of a hill. Our room came with a balcony view over the pool and was a great place to stay. The old side of Albufeira is a very traditional part of town. It was a very relaxing place, as you can tell. It is made up of narrow, windy streets with lots of little stalls selling all sorts of odds and sods, from cheap rubbish and mobile phone accessories to local handmade baskets and jewellery. The square is a very popular place for people to relax and listen to music, and there are many places to eat and drink. The old town is right near Fisherman's Beach. It is called this because the locals do their fishing here from the pier. We went to a number of beaches. They all had the same usual sights. Some nice, but some not so nice. But our favourite beach was Fisherman's Beach. It was easy to get to, and it was close to good bars and restaurants. And this is very important because Zoe does love her food. Even though we went in October, it was so hot, 33 degrees some days, which is why we always rented a parasol and a couple of chairs. This sand sculpture was present all the time. They kept it maintained by spraying it with water. It must have taken them ages to build. Even though the sea was a bit cold, it never stopped us from jumping in for a swim and cooling off from the heat of the sun. The surf was pretty good too, although it sometimes came in too far. The Santa Eulalia beach is a bit rocky, which makes swimming in it difficult since you keep banging your toes and standing on sharp rocks. But it does have some really great rock pools. I went off over there to see what I could find. And on one day, we were on a coach tour to Lisbon, Portugal's capital city. This tower is actually the Santa Juste elevator, which was designed by Gustave Eiffel, the man who created the Eiffel Tower in Paris. It doesn't go anywhere, but at the top is a little cafe where me and Zoe had some really nice orange juice. From up here, the views of the city and the castle of St. George are magnificent. And from up here you can also see Rocio Square, which is one of the most beautiful squares in Lisbon. In the middle of the square there's a statue of Dom Pedro IV with 4 female figures representing justice, wisdom, strength and moderation. Our coach tour took us to many places, including the monastery of Genimos. The chapel has outstanding carved stonework and magnificent vaulted ceilings. Vasco da Gama, the first European to reach India by sea, is also buried here. The Bethlehem Tower was built in tribute to the patron saint of the city, St. Vincent. Because of the exterior decoration, the Bethlehem Tower is Lisbon's most photographed landmark. When it was completed in 1520, it would have served as a fortress in the middle of the River Tagus. This is a full-scale statue of the Santa Cruz, which was the first aeroplane to cross the Atlantic in June 1922. The Monument of Discoveries was built in 1960 to celebrate Portuguese maritime history. It includes many statues of famous heroes and discoverers, including Henry the Navigator and Vasco da Gama. Further up the river you can see the statue of Jesus and the 25th of April bridge. We also went on an off-road experience. This is our driver picking us up from our hotel, and then we went off to meet other jeeps. Our driver Palos was a great guide and entertainer. He was always playing tricks on us and having fun.
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Doing the next
it doesn't work very well in a car though.
Straight on. Okay, so now we're gonna cross the river. Be careful with your hands outside of the jeep. Crocodiles and piranhas. Lots. Especially when the river is dry.
Oh! Is this the river?
Our first destination was a little place in the middle of nowhere to meet a couple of hard-working locals. They were making baskets and shelling almonds. The baskets were made from a dried long grass and were hand woven. It would take her a day to make one large basket. Apparently they would do this for most of the day and then travel into town in the afternoon to sell what they had done.
That quite easy.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. It's an English car, huh? Very good. He knows the way. Oh, can you see it? She don't dive in.
We also had a quick stop of a little village. It's very peaceful and oldie-woldy. This happened to be one of our hottest days.
Got to get out of this heat.
Portugal produces a lot of cork, and here's some that has been cut from the cork tree and is waiting to be sent to the cork factory. This is a cork tree that has been recently decorked. It is cut from the tree every 9 years. It is cut from the main trunks of the tree. It is not the tree's bark, but a fungus that grows from the tree sweating in the hot sun. Here you can see the tree sweating. Just imagine not washing for 9 years and having large crusty mushrooms growing under your armpits. That's just disgusting. Another hot day and another excursion. This time cruising the Guadiana River. It separates Portugal and Spain. On the left is Portugal and on the right is Spain. There were loads of people on the boat. On top were the sunbathers and the hunks, while below were the old biddies. And some of us were still sleeping off the previous night's cocktails and nightclubs.
Maybe they're going to show.
We finally got to our destination, a small traditional Portuguese village. In fact, so traditional that everyone still drinks from this well. All the buildings were a bit worn, but it was a very pretty place. It may have been older and traditional, but it had its fair share of mansions. This is a wild pomegranate tree. There's an olive tree and a prickly pear. For lunch we had fresh sardines and salad, while the locals entertained us.